Good morning, Stampers. Welcome to Friday morning, Maker Mornings with Meg. And today's project is going to be a Fun Friday floral. So say that about 6 times fast and you'll be in good shape for Friday. Anyway, the stamp set we're using is the Pretty Perennials stamp set and the coordinating Perennial Petals dies. So these are located in the catalog. I didn't look at the page ahead of time. They're located in the mini catalog, the January through June. So this is the catalog, if you aren't familiar, that came out in January of this year and will run through the end of June. And then we'll make way for another seasonal catalog. So lots of fun florals, springtimey things, Valentine's, great stuff to kind of get through the winter time months. And the stamp set that we're looking at here is Perennial Petals on page 31. There's an index in the back of this catalog if you're not familiar with it. It is fabulous for looking up papers and things you thought you saw but you can't remember where they are. So this is the stamp set. So lots of good ideas for it here right on the page. But the emphasis for this one is that there are a zillion stamps and a zillion dies in this, and you can mix and match till your heart's content. And the word happy is in here with lots of different iterations of different ways to put that together. So, all right. I have also a designer series paper, and I showed these yesterday. This is the Flower and Field designer series paper, which is super florally and pretty on one side and pretty also on the other, but in a more utilitarian kind of way. So I looked at these and I thought, ooh, you know what? That would make a great DSP card base, and we haven't done that for a while. So I'm gonna pull this one here, which is, I just love the color variety and the way these pieces mix and match. And these florals inspired my stamped florals for this card. So, all right, I'm gonna turn you guys down here and we will get started. Okay, so, sorry, I have a frog in my throat. So our card base is cut to 4 inches by 12 inches wide. And then all I do is I score that at 5.5 inches and 11 inches. Fold this under, fold this over, and we have our card base kind of all ready to go there. Let's see. There we go. Ready to go there. So what I'm going to do next is go ahead and take my stamps and get stamping with this. So let's see. I picked colors to go with this. I picked the Blushing Bride. And oh, I set this aside because I wanted to show you. So on the back of your paper colors, paper package are the colors of the coordinating cardstocks. And Petal Pink is listed here, but Blushing Bride is not. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's not included. It just means that they were already at like a billion colors listed and they stopped listing more. So this paper goes, this designer paper goes with so much. So I grabbed my Blushing Bride because it's just a little bit stronger. I didn't really want the light because I was trying to balance out with it the Cherry Cobbler, which appears here, and then also the Blushing Bride coordinating. And then I needed a yellow, and the color on the back is Bumblebee. But I found that Bumblebee was just a little, I brought a sample, a little too strong for these colors. It's nice, actually. It's great. But what I decided to do instead was go with So Saffron, which is a lighter tint of this, and then stamp in Bumblebee. So if you're wondering what colors I used, that's kind of how I picked them there. And then for our greeting base, I cut out a piece of paper in Whisper White from the Stitched So Sweetly dies, which have this great shape. And this stamp set, or the paper, is a little bit fussy, so, which isn't a bad thing. It's a little bit fussy, so I went ahead and picked a fussy design for our greeting here. Because clearly on the front of this card, we're gonna need some very specific, design. So, okay, I have my happy stamp. I'm gonna go ahead and add this on here. And then I'm going to set this aside for a second and come back to my flowers. So I have my largest flower, and I decided that the largest flower here should be kind of a light color, because if I made it the cherry cobbler, it would be a little bit too intense. So I went with the Blushing Bride. And then I wanted to put a center on this flower, so I decided to go with something that would definitely show up over the top of it, and go with my Mary Merlot, or my cherry cobbler. So those 3 colors here are the only inks that I'm using for this project. All right, then I'm gonna go color on color. Like I said, I'm gonna do Bumblebee on Bumblebee. Okay, so nice and intense there with that color. And then add a center for that too. Let's see, more cherry cobbler. And then last flower is going to be the cherry cobbler flowers here. And I'm gonna go ahead and stamp them first here in the ink on cherry cobbler cardstock. And then this one actually has a background image to go behind it. So just to color that in. And I know you can't see that very well color on color with the darkest inks, but trust me, it looks great. All right, so then I'm gonna take some dies, and I wanted to pull in the dies here to show you that there are about 1.5 billion dies on this card. And the only ones I'm using for the project are these, but they give you lots and lots more to mix and match and play with. So there are lots of good possibilities for these. I am gonna pull these in, go ahead and die cut. So we have our large flower here, our medium flower here, and our small flower. And then I decided that I wanted to go ahead and add a center to one of these. So I'm gonna pop out this center piece here and add an overlay to our yellow. So that's gonna go here. And through the magic of television, okay, wait, I don't wanna lose my dies. Let me pop them back on my magnet board. But I kinda wanted to show you how I mixed and matched those, because this is such a fun stamp set to play with. So many great possibilities. So we have our yellow flower here with our center, and I went and put the top on. So I covered up the center, but that's fine. We have our Blushing Bride flower, and we have our 2 cherry cobbler flowers, okay? And then our happy greeting, all right? And then for the leaves, I wanted to do something just a little bit different to give it a little extra kick. And so I reached back to the paper here that I used on our shark project the other day. If you remember this one, I used the rainbow glimmer paper to make the shark seaweed glimmery. And so I grabbed it and cut out the flower leaves here. And so that is, here you can kind of see, I'll show you there, those glimmery multicolored leaves. So lots of fun possibilities there. So save that die. And then we just need to start assembling. Now, usually when I do this card, I kind of try to create something that is going to be on the front to kind of hold everything steady. And so in that case, I'm going to go ahead and cement this little bit down here so that it helps to stabilize that front leading edge of our card. So, okay, so we have our card. And on the card base, well, I'll get to that. We'll kind of build it as we go. So, all right, so greeting, then a little bit of our greenery. And I try to figure out, like, where can I put this that it's not gonna totally disappear in the background. So let's see what happens if we put a flower on here and then set this across the top of it instead of behind it, and then add our yellow flower here. So now, instead of having our glimmer paper get lost in the background, it's being supported here by this flower, okay? And then we need to kind of balance out our bottom and our top there. All right, so I'm pretty happy with this. And I wanted to actually add the little happy mail image to finish our thing. Like I said, you could do happy for you, happy birthday, you make me happy, sending lots of happy, lots of good choices. But the happy mail is good for pretty much anything, but it doesn't really quite fit on here exactly. So what I'm gonna do is just stamp that, I think on, let's see, a piece of the yellow. So I'm gonna stamp it in cherry cobbler on our yellow, and then grab my, we'll see if this jumps out too much. You guys can let me know what you think. No, I think that's pretty good actually. I'm gonna trim it down a little bit so that it's about the right size. a little tighter. Okay, now when you are stamping with dark colors on the colored cardstock, just be a little bit more patient about letting things dry. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, so it doesn't quite sink in like it does with the whites. All right, so we have this here. Now I need to start assembling, and I'm gonna grab my multi-purpose liquid adhesive, and I'm gonna usually go from the bottom up. I might go from the top down on this one. So a little bit of glue goes a long way. Remember that when you're working with a multi-purpose liquid adhesive, I always say that if you can see it, it is enough, okay? You don't have to glob a lot of glue on there. The other advantage of working with this particular glue is that it lets me have a little bit of time to move things. If I decide I don't exactly let it position there, I can shift it left or right like I did just there. I'm gonna pop a dimensional under here because I see that this is going to nicely hold our greenery in place, okay? This guy, I think, needs a Stampin' Dimensional. I have this little box that my mom made that I'm keeping my dimensionals in, so super handy there. Always nice to have organization in a drawer. So if you haven't watched the early studio tours, LovenStamps studio tours videos, you can go back and check some organization tips. And then I'm gonna pop this guy kind of down here. Oops. Remember, just push your dimensional down a little harder. And I kind of want these three to go together, so I'm gonna pop them on there together. And then I think I don't want another dimensional on top, so I'm going to put a little more bit of green lid glue on there for our happy mail and overlap our flower. Okay, so our flower here isn't quite attached yet, but I think what I'm gonna do is hold this in place and take our whole embellishment panel, flip it over. I'm not gonna put it on my card in case I have stray glue. And I'm going to use this long strip of Stampin' Dimensional here. We have a long panel of embellishments, so I'm going to use a long panel of dimensionals just all the way across there. I know if that like made you gasp, hang in there, it'll be okay. And then I'm gonna use another long one here to just hold everything else down. So we have all of our pieces assembled, and we have our fun central unit here of our decorations. This is gonna go on the card front. Now, when I looked at this, I thought, I like that. I think it needs a little bit more embellishment because this paper is, like I said, really busy. We've added a lot of busy floral, and happy to me screams polka dots. So I am gonna come back here before I attach that and tie a bit of this polka dot trim around here. And this ribbon has been around for a little bit. I really love it. It's in the annual catalog, so if you're looking for it in the catalog, that's where it is. Otherwise, in the online store, it's easy to find, and you can see the link for it in the video description. All right, I'm gonna trim my tails, okay? And then I'm gonna slide this knot down kind of to the bottom because I want the knots to kind of come in with our focal point, which is kind of this bottom corner down here. All right, so I've got that slid on there. And now, let's see, is our dimensional, yep, our dimensional strip is gonna hold the ribbon in place too. So that will work to our benefit. And then I'm gonna add this to the bottom, and I'm gonna try and keep my greeting straight here, which is kind of our point. Okay, did I succeed? Yep, all right. So we have our ribbon there as an extra accent, kind of tug which way it goes. And then our flowers. Now, this card is not done to me yet because I feel like it needs, well, first of all, it needs a layer inside because designer series paper is a little flimsy and you want your card to have just a nice oomph to it when you open it. The front is totally supported by that long strip of Stampin' Dimensional, so I feel good about that. But I have some card for the inside. Now, this is cut to 4 1/4, is it? It is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, so it's just a normal card size. But remember, our designer series paper is only 4 inches tall because then you can get 3 cards on a sheet. So I slid this in here like this, and see how that just that extra strip at the top and the bottom just really helps to set off our design. So here it is without, which is a super cute card, but here it is with. Oops, I just caught it in the ribbon. Here it is with, and I love how that goes. Now you have 2 choices. When you make a card like this, you can decide to put that cardstock underneath on the back like this, so that your card opens and you have still all of that in the center. But I think I like the idea of putting it in the center so that on the back of our card, we still have the flowers. And then on the inside, we still have our design, but we have this nice big palette here to work with. So I think this needs a little floral in it. So I'm gonna grab my Blushing Bride and stamp one more flower. I'm gonna use my cherry cobbler again to put the center on that. And you know what, let's just add one more little flower down here. I feel like it needs, and I think I might go with just the center here. There we go. And then I like things in sort of threes. So, okay, there we go. So now we have, oh, did I stamp it so low? Wait, I might've made it, okay, whew, just barely. So what I was worried was that I stamped it so low to the corner that it shows when the card is closed, but it doesn't. We were just, whew, right on the edge there. So now I'm gonna take my adhesive, and I almost did it again. Remember to think about where your cardstock is contacting, and don't put adhesive where it will be hanging out in the middle of nowhere. Ah, it grabbed. All right, oof, there we go. Remember, when you're pulling adhesive apart, shear the two pieces against each other. Don't peel back so that you can keep that there. I think the easiest way to do this is to line it up on the back and just sort of fold the card shut. Yeah, much better. Okay, so there we have our card front. I guess there's a teeny little hint of ink showing, but I'm okay with that. With the Pretty Perennials stamp set and the dies, kind of looking forward to playing with all the rest of these dies since we only use kind of a handful of them here. And the designer series paper from the Sale-a-bration mini catalog. So the way this works is if you order $50 in product, so if you have $50 in product in your shopping cart, you get to pick a free item from the Sale-a-bration mini catalog. And they're kind of a sneak peek here. This is available on my website, or I'd be happy to send one to you if you need one. But you can kind of flip through here and see all the stamp sets and the paper packages that are free. And for each $50 you order, you get another item. There are a couple level 2 items which go with a $100 order. One is the strawberries, which is my feature for this month. It feels like it's been forever, but remember these little strawberry box bags? So those are a video tutorial available on my blog if you want to see that. But those are my feature for my January tutorials. So any size order you place in my online store, you get a set of tutorials for the month, and those are a downloadable PDF that you can add to your collection. If you order at least $50, you get a project kit too. And actually, the project kit this month includes this particular project. There's 2 projects, this and one of the other strawberry cards. Anyway, lots of good things. So if you want a whole rundown of perks of shopping with me, you can check on my LovenStamps website for those details. Otherwise, you can keep watching videos, and be sure to check for today's project in the description of the video. There's a shopping, whew, you guys are all crooked. There's a link for this project with all the supplies that you need to make this stamp set, or make this project. So, all right, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Happy Friday. I hope you have fabulous plans to do some crafting and creative and share some joy over your weekend. And I will be back on Monday with another project. So happy stamping. Thanks so much for watching.